Sūta Vacha Yudhiṣṭhirastad Ākaranya Shayanam Sharapanjare Aprichyad Vidvan Dharman ऋषीणां चानुशृण्वताम् Sūta Vacha Yudhiṣṭhirastad Ākaranya Shayanam Sharapanjare Aprichyad Vividhan Dharman ऋषीणां चानुशृण्वताम्. Sūta Vacha. See, Sūta Gosvāmī said, Yudhiṣṭhira, King Yudhiṣṭhira, that Ākaranya, hearing, Shayanam, lying down, Sharapanjare, on the bed of arrows, Aprichyat, asked, Vividhan, multifarious, Dharman, duties, Rishinam, of the rishis, Cha, and Anshunvatam, hearing after. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Sūta Gosvāmī said, Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, after hearing Bhīṣmadeva speak in that appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all the great rishis about the essential principles of various religious duties. Please repeat the translation. Sūta Gosvāmī said, Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, after hearing Bhīṣmadeva speak in that appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all the great rishis about the essential principles of various religious duties. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Bhīṣmadeva, speaking in that appealing tone, convinced Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira that he was very soon passing away. And Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira was inspired by Lord Krishna to ask him of the principles of religion. Lord Krishna inspired Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira to ask Bhīṣmadeva in the presence of many great sages, indicating thereby that the Lord's devotee like Bhīṣmadeva, although apparently living as a worldly man, is far superior to many great sages, even Vyasadeva. Another point is that Bhīṣmadeva at that time was not only lying on a deathbed of arrows, but was greatly aggrieved because of that state. One should not have asked him any question at that time, but Lord Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by dint of spiritual enlightenment. And thus, in any circumstances, a devotee of the Lord is in perfect order to speak of the right way of life. Yudhiṣṭhira also preferred to solve his problematic questions by asking Bhīṣmadeva, rather than ask anyone else present there who was seemingly more learned than Bhīṣmadeva. This is all due to the arrangement of the great wheel carrier Lord Sri Krishna, who establishes the glories of his devotee. The father likes to see the son become more famous than himself. The Lord declares very emphatically that worship of his devotee is more valuable than the worship of the Lord himself. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, after hearing the glories of Lord Krishna as explained by Bhīṣmadeva, now Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj is inquiring from Bhīṣmadeva. What did he inquire will be the further questions. And what Bhīṣmadeva answered will be a very big part in Mahabharata, but in Bhagavatam it is just condensed in 4 verses. Sūta Vacha, so Sūta Gosvāmī is explaining the subject, what was happening. Yudhiṣṭhiras tad akaranya, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, after hearing what Bhīṣmadeva had spoken earlier in the verses of Krishna's unique position. Shayanam Sharapanjare. What was the situation of Bhīṣmadeva at that time? He is on Shayanam, in a sleeping or in a resting position, flat on the ground, Shayana. Sharapanjare, he is on bed of arrows. Aprachyat Vividan Dharman. So, he had asked him about various dharma, religious duties. Rishinam cha Anushunvatam. Only Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was hearing at that time? No. All the great ṛṣis were also there. Anushunvatam. In their presence, even they are all hearing the concept what was inquired by Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj to Bhīṣmadeva. So, Sūta Gosvāmī is saying, Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, after hearing Bhīṣmadeva speak in that appealing tone, tad akaranya, asked him, aprichat, in the presence of all the great ṛṣis, Rishinam cha Anushunvatam, about the essential principles of various religious duties. Vividhan Dharman. So, various concepts of religious duties. Because Bhīṣmadeva was very great knower of all the Vedic subjects. He is a Mahabhagavata, one of the certified personalities who know about all the religious principles. That's why Lord Krishna, here, this is the act of Lord Krishna, inspiring one devotee to inquire and inspiring one more devotee to talk about the subject. Because 2 personalities, they are all not ordinary personalities. One was like representative of Dharma personified, Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, the son of Yamadharmaraj. And Yamadharmaraj is also one of the Mahabhagavatas. So, he is inquiring and one more Mahabhagavata is answering. So, you have to see the situation here. The 2 personalities who are inquiring and who are answering are of very highest cadre. They are not a normal persons. So, the inquiry will be of that highest quality and the answer what you receive will also be of highest quality. So, it is said, the purport Prabhupada saying, so Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj became convinced that Bhīṣmadeva was very soon passing him. See, Bhīṣmadeva had one boon, that he can live as long as he wants to live. So, when Bhīṣmadeva was lying on that bed of arrows, on the 10th day of the war, Bhīṣmadeva was shot and he was lying on the bed of arrows. For almost 56 days, he was lying on the bed of arrows. Somewhere around December 1st week to Uttarayana. Uttarayana also some 2 days next Ekadashi will come. This is called as Bhaimi Ekadashi, where Bhīṣmadeva quit his material body. So, from Gita Jayanti you take, so from Gita Jayanti, which was, what was the date? Somewhere around December 23rd. So, December 23rd till February 22nd. So, 2 months roughly. In 2 months period, 10 days of the 10th day of the war, Gita Jayanti was the first day of the war. On the 10th day, Bhīṣmadeva passed away. Bhīṣmadeva fell on the battlefield. So, in 60 days, almost like 50 days, he was there on the bed of arrows. So, what is the situation here? Bhīṣmadeva was lying for that period because he wanted that Uttarayana to come. He is like a perfect yogi. Because in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, in the 8th chapter, what are the times to quit this material body? If you quit in Uttarayana, in the day of light, in the fiery personality, when all these things are all favorably present, in the Uttarayana, Shukla Paksha, fiery personality, the daytime, if somebody quits this material world, they will go back to the supreme personality of God. They will go back to Vaikuntha. They will not come back. But if somebody passes away in the Dakshinayana, in the darkness, or in the Amavasya period, or all these things and all, they will go to heavenly planets and they will come back to this earthly world. So, Bhīṣmadeva, he is trying to show to the yogis how they have to quit the life and how they have to, the practice of quitting this material body is shown as an example by Bhīṣmadeva. See, entire Bhagavatam, explains about this one prime subject, the art of dying. People are hankering for art of living, but Bhagavatam is teaching the art of dying. See the episode of Sūta Gosvāmī, 7 days warning he will die. So how did he prepare for his death? The art of dying. Then when he was feeling that 7 days is too less for me, Sūta Gosvāmī inspired him by saying a story of Maharaj Katvanga, who had only 48 minutes before his death. And in 48 minutes, he became perfected and he quit his body and he went back home, back to Godhead. He said, 48 minutes, you have 7 days, it is too much time for you. Don't bother. See, art of dying is the principle what is being taught here. Art of dying means, see, everybody are in the cycle of birth and death. But how do you stop this death itself? It's the last birth. That is the principle of this art of dying. So that we don't come back into this material world again and again and rot our life, wasting our energy and resources and lose the opportunity of realizing Krishna consciousness, which is possible only in the human form. In the 84 lakh species. That's why Shastra Bhagavatam glorifies human form as Durlabham Manusham Janma. Tatapi Adruvam Artadam. Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumaram Acharet Prajno Dharman Bhagavataniha. This Bhagavata Dharma, when we have to learn? From the age of 5 years. Kaumaram Acharet Prajna. When the child becomes intelligent enough, at the age of 5 years, he should start learning about Bhagavatam. Dharman Bhagavataniha. Durlabham Manusham Janma. This human form of life is very rare. Durlabham Manusham Janma. Tadapi, you can make it Adruvam. It is temporary. This material body is temporary. Adruvam. Tadapi Adruvam. Artadam. And it is meaningful. Even though it is temporary, you can make it meaningful and utilize this body and go back home, back to God. So, Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira inquired from Bhīṣmadeva in the presence of all the great ṛṣis about the essential principles of various religious duties. Because Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was supposed to be the king, emperor of the world. So, an emperor should have knowledge of all the various Vedic aspects. Not only bhakti, because he has to manage the material world also. He should be equipped with all the information about varna, ashrama, duties of various personalities and spiritual subjects and charity, dana, dharma, karma, all the material perspectives and all. That's why Bhīṣmadeva was selected, because he is an exemplary personality. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, inspiration behind inquiries. What is the inspiration for Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira to inquire? He was inspired by Lord Krishna to ask him about such principles. Then, inquiry to Bhīṣmadeva in the presence of great sages. Why only Bhīṣmadeva? Why he was selected beyond Vyasadeva? Because in the last chapter it is said, Vyasadeva tried to speak, Krishna spoke, but Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was not convinced. All the great ṛṣis were there, but Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj was not convinced. So why is this? This indicates the superiority of Bhīṣmadeva in spite of being a worldly man. Even though he was acting like a kshatriya, managing the kingdom, all these things and all, he is so highly educated and talented personality. Although Bhīṣmadeva was in a painful state and on deathbed, still he was in a perfect state of answering. See the consciousness of a person on the deathbed. What will be a common man scenario? Have you any time visited an ICU? You have gone to ICU? So you will see people. What will be their mental state? Doctor would have come and said, very few hours. Please call all your relatives. This is what generally they say. No, what will be the consciousness of that person? Huh? क्या settle करना क्या? Mind will be running with so many things because he is attached to many of like wealth. He is attached to wealth. He is attached to house. He is attached to family. He is attached to his own body. See, nobody wants to sacrifice something. Nobody wants to quit something in middle and go. And in the material world, we have to quit everything suddenly and go. The principle is. So their consciousness will be running with hundreds of thoughts. And so much anxiety. See, most feared thing in this material world is death. Nobody wants to die. And when you are given an advance notice that you will be going away in very short notice, all the other associates who are there next to him, they will all increase their sound. And because of this person will also feel more morose. See how the mentality happens. Everybody surrounding you are crying, you will also be in that same state only, you will be sorrow only. You will not be in a happy state, laughing all these things, you will not be playing jokes, all these things and all. So consciousness. But Bhīṣmadeva, you see his mentality, he is in perfect sound consciousness. Even though body is withering with so much pain, his bodily impact is not there on his consciousness. The art of dying, this is one principle. Your bodily situation will not impact your consciousness levels. So Lord Krishna establishes the glories of his devotee Bhīṣmadeva by inspiring Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj to prefer Bhīṣmadeva over anyone else, even over himself, to solve all problematic questions. So Krishna, he is known as the performer of superhuman tasks, Herculean tasks. This is what in the first verse of Bhagavatam glorified. Krishna as a super performer. So Krishna is performing here, but not by himself. He is performing his devotee by glorifying one devotee and putting another devotee to inquire from him. So Bhagavatam always inspires people to question, inquiry. And how Bhagavatam started? When the sages of Naimisharanya, they were there, they inquired from Sūta Gosvāmī with 6 questions. The first chapter of Bhagavatam, first canto, starts with 6 questions. And the ending of first canto, where it starts with Parikshit Maharaj asking one question to Sūta Gosvāmī. See, entire Bhagavatam is question and answers. So perfect questions to perfect answers. So these personalities, how do they inquire? To whom do they inquire? So in Bhagavatam we see Vidura, one more great personality. He is inquiring from Maitreya. In that inquiry you see the questions, how it will be. One question, how the format will be. Tat sadhu varyadisha vartmasam naha samradito bhagavan yena pumsam hrudi stito yachyati bhakti pute jnanam sa tattva adhigamam puranam. So Vidura wanted to understand about the path of transcendental loving service, that is bhakti to the Supreme Lord. So the inquiry is based on this perspective. You can inquire on various subjects, but here bhakti is the basic inquiry. He is saying, oh sadhu varya, oh best of the sadhus, oh best of the brahmanas, oh great sage, adisha sham vartma samraditaha, please give me instructions on the transcendental devotional service to the Lord. How bhakti has to be performed. So that Bhagavan Hridi Sthitaha, the Supreme Lord who is situated in the heart of every living entity, Yachyati Jnanam Satattvam, he becomes pleased with me to impart that Jnanam, the knowledge about the absolute truth, and the Tattva, the philosophical perspective. In terms of Puranam Adhigamam, in terms of all the ancient Vedic principles delivered only to those who are on the process of Bhakti Pute, on the process of devotional service. So I want to know about Bhakti, then you inspire me in such a way, you talk about such a way that the Lord who is there in the heart becomes satisfied. And he reveals me all the transcendental knowledge about him, his philosophy, his tattva, his glories, his capacities, and how to render his service. See how the inquiry was. Inquiry was not like we ask on the road or something like that. Now everywhere when you are traveling on the road, somebody will come with a mic and they will put some question. We are from so-and-so channel. What do you feel about this? This is not that kind of inquiry. This is an inquiry which will inspire you to get into the practicality or technical details of bhakti devotion service. So whom should you inquire? It is very important. Anybody and everybody should not inquire. He is also the Rajaguru. And every time he used to glorify the king and king used to give him so much presents, all these things and all. So he used to manage the situations. He had a son who was almost some 17, 18 years old. Because father was so much involved into these kingdom matters, all these things and all, hardly he used to spend time at his house. He was not thinking of what is happening to the son or his family life or spiritual perspectives, all these things and all. So the son was also in the association of his friends, was visiting some sadhus who were there in the village. He was always spending time with them. He was engaging more and more in the bhakti. He was attending the kirtans, he was attending the lectures there. He was becoming inspired more into bhakti, and he was becoming more and more detached from this material perspective. A father was observing him but not inquiring or not questioning him. One day by chance, the father and the son were all at the lunch period. Everybody were all at the same period. The father was criticizing the son that you are fit for nothing, you are not doing any activity. I see that you are spending time with most of the people there. You are spending most of the time with the sadhus there. What will you learn? How will you survive? What is your maintenance? Like if you start coming to temple, parents will ask. If you go to any pub, nobody will bother. If you have all bad habits, nobody will bother. If you try to come to temple, if you try to be a good personality, parents will be alerted. Hare, my son is going to temple. He is becoming something odd man. He is going against the flow of the rivers of material world. The same thing his father also was thinking. So one day when he was criticizing, son silently had his food and he went away from there. So son was always trying to avoid his father confrontation. Because simply he'll be criticizing, he'll be putting down, he'll be criticizing the devotees whom he was hearing from. So one day the king became inspired by some thought about mukti. Then he went to the Rajguru and he informed him, give me an opportunity, I want to attain Sadgati in this very life itself. And you should teach me the best and easiest way. And he had put a deadline, in 1 month you have to teach me this knowledge. If you don't teach me within 1 month, I will seize all your property, I will put all your family members into the jail and you will be hanged. So death sentence has come. No, he was thinking, till now nobody has asked me this question. I myself had never inquired into this subject. What is this Sadgati and how to practice this perfection towards Sadgati? So he was contemplating, but he was not getting any answers. He was, tension, anxiety, 30 days timeline. So almost some 20 days, 25 days were over. Father could not find any answer. Accidentally, one day again, the lunch period, again the son and the father were there. Father was very tensed. He was not able to eat his food also. Seeing the situation, the son asked father, what problem are you going through? If there is something, I can help you out. But father thought he is a fit for nothing guy, what he can do? But mother explained the situation, that what the king's condition was. Then the son said, after thinking for a few minutes, he said, I will solve your problem. I will manage the situation and I will help you out from the circumstances. The father thought, my son is going to play some gimmicks and he is going to fool the king and all these things and all. He thought, he said, what the son said, next morning, you should go and inform the king that you should accept me as the guru. And I will be able to guide you. Then the father said, okay. Next day he went and announced to the king, my son, the answer what you wanted, he will become your guru and he will teach you about the inquiry of what you made. Next day when the son came, the king himself came down from the throne, requested, invited him, greeted him, invited him. Then he made him sit on a gorgeous place. Then he was standing next to because the etiquette of a disciple in front of the guru, he was following the etiquette. Now father was also very happy that king has respected my son, all these things and all. Suddenly the son announced, my dear gods, please come, bring that king and tie him up to this wall, tie him up to the pillar. No, father is in shock. What is this? What is my son doing? I will die after 5 days. Now he is seeing that I will die now itself. So then after a few minutes, then he said, tie up my father also to this pillar. Now he started blasting in his mind what is and all he is thinking. You can understand what background, how the score will be running, all these things and all. That BGM and all, what is going on in his mind. After some time, the son started saying, my dear sir, he is addressing his father, my dear sir, can you release the king now? The father said, see how it is possible, I am already tied up, can't you see I am tied up, how I can release the father, how I can release the king? And he started scolding him, you come home, I will teach you what it is. You are trying to play around with me, like you are making me a joker in front of all the people here, all these things and all. The king was laughing and he became silent. Then king turned towards that boy and he said, my dear boy, you have taught me the lesson. I should ask from a person who is free, so that who can free me. I am asking from a person who is tied up, how he can free me from my bondage. So inquiry should be from the right person. If you are asking about a subject, about getting freed from this material world, who can free you? The person who is already freed, only he can free me, not everybody and anybody. So this is the importance of inquiry from the proper person. So similarly, now the devotee mode, how Bhīṣmadeva was feeling. He was lying on that bed of arrows and with body with so much pain, so much withering, all these things and all. But still the mentality of devotee, how Bhagavatam glorifies. Says, Tatyenu kampan susipikshamanaha bunjana evatma kritam vipakam hridvag vapurbir vidadan namaste jiveta yo bhakti pade sadhaya bhag. This is a shloka which is glorified by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also tries to change this shloka by Mukti Pade to Bhakti Pade. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, it is Mukti Pade only, the lotus feet of the Lord. So the mentality of the devotee, the quality of devotional service when he renders, how he becomes eligible for Bhakti or Mukti is explained here. Tatyenu kampam susipakshamanaha, compassion from the Lord. Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam, and he is, all the sufferings, what he is doing, he is thinking, this is because of my past karma I am suffering here. Go to a hotel, you go to a restaurant, what comes onto the plate? What comes in front of you? Not menu, whatever you order only will come to you. So as per our karma, what I am supposed to suffer or enjoy will come to my plate. Nothing will come beyond, not even 1 paisa extra, not even 1 paisa less. So here the material world is the restaurant of karma, and you will get served what you are deserved. So here devotee feels, Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. This is all, whatever I am enjoying or suffering, Bunjana, I am enjoying or suffering, is Atma kritam. This is done by me. Vipakam, because of my fruitive mentality and sinful tendencies in past many lives, I am just enjoying or suffering of my own karma. Hridvag vapurbir, and the devotee, even with this mentality, I am suffering, he is offering his respects to the Supreme Lord with his mind, manasa vacha karmana. By his mind, by his words, and by his actions. He is completely surrendering to the Lord in bhakti. Hridvag vapurbir, vidadan namaste, and he is offering complete obeisances to the Lord. Jivetayo mukti pade sadhaya bhag. One who is living in this perspective, he is the eligible personality for mukti pade, for liberation into this spiritual world. He is the rightful heir to claim mukti from the Lord, because he has acted in that platform. So Bhīṣmadeva is the rightful heir to claim mukti from the Lord, and he has acted in that platform because he is not criticizing anybody. Oh Arjuna, because of you I am this bed of arrows. Or who is that lady who shot him? Shikandi. He did not criticize Shikandi, he did not criticize Duryodhana. I joined your party, that's why, because this is suffering is because of you. See, whatever, when a bad thing happens, we all pass on that blame to all the others who are associated with the circumstances. Like when a cricket match is lost, when the captain is asked with a mic, what do you think about the failure? What he will say? Today as a team we did not play well, circumstances were not good, we could not read the pitch, the ball was changing. See, everybody will try to pass on the failure on the others. See, the intelligence of a person is explained. In success, he gives credit to others. In failure, he accepts the responsibility. This is of a responsible person, a gentleman's behavior. In success, he shares the information with others. Because of the whole team, we won. In failure, I could not manage, that's why we lost. He takes blame on himself. This is a gentleman's behavior. So, in that perspective, then this was one story about Advaita Acharya. Yesterday was Advaita Acharya's appearance day. So, in that perspective, there was day before yesterday, Advaita Acharya, when he was visiting everywhere, once he was visited Vrindavan, at that time there was a Brahmana in Mathura who was not acting on his spiritual perspectives, who was always criticizing others, other Vaishnavas. He was a proud scholar and a wicked man. All the inhabitants were always fearing him. On one occasion, he spoke some abusive words about the Vaishnavas in front of Advaita Acharya. So, Advaita Acharya became so furious. See, what happens? A Vaishnava aparat. Unnecessarily, if somebody is criticizing, the Supreme Lord does not tolerate. A Vaishnava may tolerate, but Lord will not tolerate. So, Advaita Acharya, being very serious personality, his lips began to tremble, his eyes became red. He shouted at that Brahmana, "Oh wicked man, today you will not be freed from me. I shall sever your head from your body with this Sudarshan Chakra." He manifested his four-armed hand. Immediately Shankha Chakra Gada Padma came. See, Advaita Acharya is Maha Vishnu's representation. So immediately he accepted the form of Maha Vishnu, Ugra Rupa. And he started about to release that Sudarshan Chakra. The Brahmana immediately became fearful. The fear of death became a transformation in that Brahmana. He became so severely remorseful that he fell down at the feet of Advaita Acharya. He started pacifying him with prayers and words. And he said, "Ya kahaye bara bara, ye yuchita danda prabhu karaha amara, dussanga pratyukta mora buddhinasha haila, najani Vaishnava tattva aparada kaila." Karayoda kariya kahaye bara bara. Punish me as you like. Ye uchita danda prabhu karaha amara. Whatever is you think that I am supposed to suffer, you please punish me. Dussanga pratyukta mora buddhinasha haila. Because of bad association, my intelligence became lost. Najani Vaishnava tattva aparada kaila. Without knowing the Vaishnava tattva, I started making offenses or criticizing, started the offensive attitude towards Vaishnavas. Kainu aparada yata sankhya naitara. How many offenses I made? There is there, and I have become a pashandi or blasphemer of the Vaishnavas, will become lost in knowledge. And there is no deliverance for me, for one who has lost his knowledge. He began to cry helplessly, and Advaita Acharya concealed his form. Seeing the situation, he became compassionate. He felt pity on him and decided to bless him. He said, "Kaila aparada mahanaraka bunjite." Whatever aparada you have done, it is destined to suffer in Mahanaraka. Ebeye kahiyataha kara sabahite. And whatever I am going to tell, please follow with attentive mentality. Apanakasa aparada. And give up everything and engage yourself in Nama Sankirtana. Pranapana kari santoshiba Vaishnavere sada savadana habe Vaishnavera dvare. So, pranapana kari santoshiba Vaishnavere. With all your heart and words and actions, Sarudi Vaishnavas, with your heart and soul, Sarudi Vaishnavas. Sabha sabadana haba Vaishnavera dware. And be precautious, be cautious when you are dealing with Vaishnavas. Bhakti anga yajanate niyukta hoibe dekile ye murti taha gopana rakibe. So engage yourself in worshipping according to the standards of pure bhakti, and don't tell anyone what you have seen from my. He left on pilgrimage. So following the instructions of Advaita Acharya, the Brahmana absorbed himself in Nama Sankirtana and humbled himself by visiting every house in Mathura, and with tears in his eyes, observing the sincere efforts. He was every Vaishnava he sees, he used to pay obeisances, he used to go touch their feet. See what a transformation. The earlier, if he sees a Vaishnava, he starts criticizing. The next moment, if he sees a Vaishnava, he pays obeisances, he simply cries in front of them. All the Vaishnavas became satisfied and wished him well. The Vaishnavas wondered how the change is possible. How could this personality, who was such a blasphemer, become such a humble personality? So one man knew that reason. He said, a Brahman came to Mathura, whose effulgence was as bright as sun. Most likely he was Lord in a human form. He changed this personality. So this is the impact of association. Even though I may be an unworthy, unqualified personality, but if I meet that proper personality who is highly qualified, and the Supreme Lord himself has come in his incarnation as a devotee. By the touch of that pure devotee, how transformations happen. So similarly, and Lord also, Bhagavatam glorified, Uddhava Gita glorifies, Krishna says, Nirapeksham munim shantam nirvairam samadarshanam anuvrajami aham nityam puyete angri renubihi. Angri renubihi means the dust of the lotus feet of my devotees. Puyeta iti, I desire to purify from the dust of the devotees of my devotees' dust. I would like to keep the dust on my head. You know that pastime? When Krishna had suffered a headache, and it was so severe that queens all became very disturbed. Hare Krishna's headache, no, all the doctors came, they could not treat him anything and all. So finally they asked Krishna, what is the medicine? Only you can say, because we are not able to identify what is the reason for this headache and how this headache can be cured. Only medicine. Then Krishna said, if any devotee who is interested to cure me should give the dust of their lotus feet, that I will place on my head. Then Narada Muni went everywhere. He went to the queens. Will you give the dust of your lotus feet? They said, no, never will give. Then in that way he was roaming everywhere. Any celebrated devotee, he was going and asking, see, Krishna is having headache, please give me the dust of your lotus feet. Krishna wants to put as medicine on his head, only then his headache will be cured. They said, no, nothing doing at all. If I give my dust, I will go to hell. How can I offend the Lord? Like that, Narada Muni roamed everywhere. Finally, he went to Vrindavan. He met gopis and he said, Krishna is in trouble. As soon as they heard Krishna is in trouble, what do you want? What shall I do? What shall I do? I am ready to sacrifice my life. No, don't sacrifice your life. Please give the dust of your lotus feet. They said, how much you want? How many kgs you want? How many tons you want? So all the gopis, they started giving the dust, so much. Then Narada Muni asked, what happens? Do you know what will be the consequences of giving your dust? And Krishna, if he puts this dust on his head, you will go to hell. If Krishna is happy, we are not bothered even going to hell. For the service of the Lord, we are ready to go to hell also. But Krishna should be happy and Krishna should not be in trouble. Krishna should always be in smiling mood. So that bhakti, the devotional perspective. So the Lord also says, I aspire for the dust of the devotees, of my pure devotees. And who are these? They are all Anuvrajami Aham Nityam. I follow in the footsteps of my devotees. Devotees say, I follow in the footsteps of the Lord, and Lord is saying, I follow their footsteps. Anuvrajami Aham Nityam. And who are all Nirapeksham, who are free from all personal desires. What is the devotee? Who is the devotee? He is Nirapeksham. He is Shantam, very peaceful. Munim, who is always in the meditation of my pastimes. And Nirvairam, who is without any enmity. And Samadarshanam, who is equally disposed everywhere. If a devotee who is having all these Lakshana, Krishna is saying, I follow his footsteps. So here, Bhīṣmadeva is setting an example. Krishna is setting one more example, that listening from Bhīṣmadeva, I follow in the footsteps of my devotees. He is setting an example that how he gives quality, or he glorifies his devotees. So there was one small girl who was going in a high school. So this was in Jakarta, Indonesia. So devotees, first time devotees came there, they started going around making Sankirtan there. So this girl, before going to school, she was used to see the devotee, that sound. She was from a Indian family. Because they were all settled in Indonesia, very much disconnected from Indian culture. But she, whatever small things they practice in that house, she could understand. This is Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, this is that Vedic style, this is the Indian perspective, all these things and all. So she became little attracted. So since the Sankirtan used to pass through on her school route, so every day she used to go, stand there, hear Sankirtana, be happy and go to school. Over a period of time, one day she thought, if she wanted to know what these people are, who are these people? They are these Westerners, they are these Englishmen, they are these white people, they are all coming and doing Sankirtana. Other than this, what else they do? So one day she came early, she went to their place where they were there. So she saw that morning Darshanarti was there, Kirtan was there, Guru Plauja was there. Then after that Bhagavatam class was there. She attended all the system. Then she went to school. The more she was attending regularly, the more she was becoming free from that perspective of worldly perspectives, and she was becoming more and more inclined. Then she started doing chanting one round. Then she started inspiring. then she started becoming attached to hearing Bhagavatam class, all these things and all. So one day, then she was asking, when she saw many devotees were all there, they were all trying to serve, she came and asked, can I also help you in service? They said, first, you have to stop meat eating, you have to follow 4 regulative principles, then you have to stop from tea, coffee, only then you will become eligible to serve, because others are not eligible to serve in the deity cooking, all these things. She was interested in cooking. Then she became, then she said, what should I do? Then first practice stop eating. Then in the house, they were eating some onion, garlic, tea, coffee, all these things, but not non-vegetarian, but other things were all there. So then she went to the house and she informed the mother, from today I will not going to eat all these things and all, you have to cook for me separately. Mother is already frustrated, so much work for me, and now you are saying separately cook for you. So 1 or 2 days she cooked, but after that mother became frustrated and she started scolding the daughter. So then she did not want to do, see, both of them are at confronting heads. Mother said, I will not cook. Daughter is saying, I will not eat whatever you have cooked. After some days, all these things and all, when she was trying to be hunger at the end of the night, she could not tolerate her hunger. She went to the room and she cooked something, and she started practicing. After 3-4 days, seeing her sincerity, mother also became very pacified, and she started cooking for her daughter. When she started doing all these things for 15 days to 1 month, when the devotees saw that she was becoming very serious, then they gave her the opportunity to come and do services on Sundays in the kitchen service for the deity cooking, all these things and all. Now after doing all these things and all, then she became inspired. After some time, the devotee, all the other devotees left, there was only one devotee there. So he was asking, she asked, how can I be like you? Then said, you have to become initiated. Then he had asked, what is initiation? What I should do? Who will give me initiation? Then he said, Prabhupada will give you initiation. Then where is Prabhupada? Prabhupada will be traveling, Prabhupada will be coming. In very few days, he will be going to Malaysia. From there, he will be going to Australia. So, if you are interested, we'll ask Prabhupada to come to Jakarta and stay for a few days. Then what should I do? He said, write a letter to Prabhupada. Then she wrote some letter. Then he corrected the letter, how letter has to be written to Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. That wording terminology. Then after that, letter was posted. And after 10 days, she got a reply from Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada will reply all the letters. And she got a reply. In that letter, it is said, my dear daughter, hope so, Krishna is satisfied with you. Like that, Prabhupada, how Ashirvada he gives. Then after that, he was asking, I am your well-wisher. So, how are you? How many rounds are you chanting? Who and all are there with you? How many devotees are there? Like that, he started putting various questions. So, all these things and all that were inspiring him. Such a, personal touch from Prabhupada. She became so much carried away. Then after some days, actually, when Prabhupada was passing by, he came for a day. And he came, then she was the only girl worthy for initiation. Then Prabhupada initiated her and gave her the name Arvindakshidasi. And then after initiation, she went to Prabhupada, and when the beads were handed over, then she had asked Prabhupada, what is my service and what should I do? What is my duty now? Srila Prabhupada, what can I do? What is my duty after this? Do I have to leave my home and come and stay in the temple? Prabhupada said, no, it is not necessary. Krishna consciousness means you have to change your consciousness. It does not matter where you stay. You just have to chant and remember Krishna all the time. That is Krishna consciousness. Then she said, what is my duty? He said, since you speak Sindhi, you preach to all the Indian ladies, read my books and chant and be happy. This is your duty. So in that way, see how that touch, how that sincerity, how that inquisitiveness to learn has given her opportunity when she was 16, 17 years old itself to touch Prabhupada, to become initiated by Prabhupada, to get connected with Krishna consciousness. So age is not a limitation. So time, we have whatever little valuable time we have to utilize that in the Krishna's perspective, so that we become strong, we become pure, we become sincere and serious in our bhakti, and we, in this life itself, we go back home, back to God. I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, हिताय गौर प्रेमानंद.
శ్రీకృష్ణుణ్ణి చేరుకోవడానికి, కృష్ణ భక్తిని అందరికీ అందించటానికి బృందావనం వైపు ఉరకలేస్తున్న యమునోత్రి. విష్ణుపాదమే తన పుట్టినిల్లుగా కైలాసం చేరుకోవడానికి పరుగులు తీస్తున్న గంగోత్రి. కురుక్షేత్ర ఘోరహత్యా పాపం శంకరుణ్ణి శాంతపరచడం లక్ష్యంగా పాండవులు నిర్మించిన కేదార్నాథ్. సమస్త సాధు పుంగవులకు, ఋషులకు, ఆధ్యాత్మిక సాధనకు స్ఫూర్తినిచ్చే నరనారాయణులను నడయాడిన ప్రదేశం బద్రీనాథ్.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణవాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107777.